This video shows how I create SOPs, meaning standard operating procedures that show how to do any recurring tasks so I can delegate any recurring task that does not require too much judgment. Here I've created a SOP using Microsoft Word. So I always like to do a screen capture video such as this for my initial training for any task, but since I don't script these videos and I can miss important details, then afterwards I also go back to create a supporting document that has the SOPs detailed in a word processing document step by step, such as this, because I can always go back and edit these documents and add any important details, or if it's based on technology, often the user interfaces change, so I can go in and change the SOPs to be current with whatever software the person carrying out these tasks uses. There are two overall main parts to writing an SOP in a word processing document. The first is detailing each step with text, and the second is any screenshots necessary to help illustrate your points. So you can see here I used a screen capture tool called Jing, J-I-N-G, to take a screenshot, and I can put markup with, you see the red box here and the red arrow here. I'll show this on my screen right now. I have Jing installed. See that the top right, the sun. Click on that. Click the plus icon. I can create a screenshot here. Click capture image. Take that red box and make an outline, even then make an arrow to point to that box to call out a specific detail associated with the task. So I always try to write out each step so that somebody who is not experienced can achieve every important detail needed in a task just by following these steps. So I'm not vague. I explain every detail in a numbered order. Since I am a neat freak, here's how I format my SOPs and word processing documents. So I have a main title. I always capitalize, and I like using throughout the document News Gothic MT. That's my style. You can choose any branded font you want, and I always make this uppercase, so you can always transform text to uppercase, lowercase, capitalize each word with this tool right here. I highlight the text, so I can make that lowercase, capitalize each word, or uppercase. Then I have a subtitle. So right now I try to fit this in 1 to 2 lines. The main title, it's 48 font, and then I make the subtitle with more details, smaller font. This is 18. So that's the cover page. So then I have 3 levels typically of subheadings. The top level is size 18 font, all uppercase. The second level of subheadings is size 14 font, and that I always make the case capitalize each word. Then the third level is size 12, and that is sentence case. And all of the headings and subheadings are formatted in bold. For the body text, I make that size 11, and it's not bold. Anytime I need to make a tiny detail in parentheses within the body text, I always make that 2 points smaller than the body text. In this case, it's 9, and I italicize it. If I need to italicize a name, such as point out a button name they need to click, I italicize that name, but I do not make it 2 points smaller because it's not a tiny detail. Here's an example. So in step 7, I mentioned to select the hide comment if you're moderating a random negative comment. So the phrase hide comment, which is the button name, is italicized, but not 2 points smaller than the rest of the body font. For screenshots, in this case, I like to make them smaller than they naturally are. So I double click, and in the top right you can see width. I like to make them size 6. And then I like to click home and make sure that the screenshots are centered. Now, sometimes if you're going to add you want to now add the number list below a screenshot, you have to finagle this. It's not always easy to do. So if I want to add a 3 in between after in an ordered list after the screenshot, I would add it above 3. Then I would click on the screenshot and cut it with Command X. Now I'm going to go to the end of step 2, press enter, click the numbered list icon to remove the numbered list there, and then Control V to paste. And I'm going to press enter again to create a line break below between the step 2 and the screenshot that illustrates step 2. Then once again, click my screenshot and center it. And then you can see here I have step 3. So let's say this is a title, this random text that I just typed. I would now create another line break. So there's a line spacing between step 3 and the screenshot that illustrates step 2. So when I have line breaks, for example, if a line break above the step 5, I always make it the font size of that line break, the size of the text immediately below. So this is size 11. I make sure I go through after everything's typed and I make sure that's the same size, because sometimes when you make a line break between 2 different sizes of font, you'll have the larger size. So for example, this subheading number 2 is size 14. Subheading 3 immediately below that is size 12. So the line break in between, I just want to make sure that's 12. It's 11 here, so I'm going to make that 12. Because a lot of times when you press enter after a larger subheading, it'll make the next line that size. And I want to make these documents spaced out enough so they're easy to read, but also compact as possible. And so if I have any, like I mentioned, a quote, for example, here is a customer service message to copy and paste. I'll italicize that and leave it the same size as the rest of the body font. So overall, I'm very meticulous and very particular about this, but you can see the end product now is a very clean, easy to follow document and has consistency across all the SOPs I create. And I'll also, lastly, before steps, sometimes add a forward. I have important details here that are explained before the steps. For example, the reasoning, I'm trying to explain the logic of how these comments are moderated. So it's understood why these comments in social media are moderated the way they are for this particular recurring task.